Hey everyone, I'm Lincoln, this is Tokens and Heft. Today we're looking at this awesome, great game, Pixel Lincoln. I just love this art and stuff. It's a deck building game where you simulate an 8-bit game, like platformer game, that does not exist. Well, I won't say 8-bit, because 8-bit means a specific color palette and such, but I'll say a low res. Here's the board when you kind of have it set up. There's a lot of things you have to do for setup. Each of the two decks up here requires a lot. There's level 1, level 2. Doesn't matter which deck is where, anything like that. What you do is, beforehand you set everything up according to this lovely sheet, which on the front or back, whichever you want, has this, which is awesome. These guys totally know their audience. And this is the first thing you see when you open the box, so that's kind of cool. But on the back, we've got the level editor, which helps you build your 2 levels. There's no restriction on level 1 or 2. One of them doesn't have to be harder than the other. It's just a way to differentiate. So, you pick 3 types of items. They come in stacks of 5. 3 types of enemies, also in stacks of 5. 3 character cards. And I've already done this. Then you take the deck, shuffle that up, deal out 5 cards. Then, which it says right there. Then you take a secret item, shuffle that into the deck, then split the deck into 3 piles and put 1 checkpoint in each pile, shuffle each of those piles, and then stack them one on top of another. Checkpoints are, as you're going through the level, when you hit a checkpoint, they have a couple of bonuses on them. When you get, the first person to get there can do 2 of the bonuses, everyone else on the same level can do 1. Everyone else is considered to hit the checkpoint at the same time. We've also got our player board set up down here. In the middle here where it says player cards, we've got player 1 and his 2 extra lives. So if you are fighting a bad guy or an enemy and you cannot defeat them, you lose a life. And then you can lose a second one. And this counts as your last life. Once this is lost, you're gone. You can continue, but you're going to lose some victory points and you will reshuffle everything before you start. So you won't really be restarting with the same hand. Speaking of hands, everyone starts with a hand of 10, or a deck of 10 cards. I just picked that up. I already had. These are the secret items. Hold on a sec. Got it. You'll have 10 cards, 5 of each type, 5 of the 2 starting types. Starting cards are starting movement, a jump. It is worth no power, 1 value, and that's for fighting and then for buying. Jump lets you jump over a guy. This is victory points. Being a starter deck or starting card, you don't get any points for that if you have it at the end of the game. Oh, and I've got a beardarang in this hand too, good. This is the other starting item. You'll have 5 of these as well. Can generate 1 power, no value. A little icon reminds you it's projectile. Again, no points. Projectiles, you can attack anyone in your level, but you have to make sure every card you add to the attack is a projectile. Otherwise, it won't be able to hit. You know, if you throw melee cards, they'll just end up, I guess missing. You'll be trying to attack, I don't know, empty air in front of you while the guy's a couple spaces down. Now the way the game works is you're going to be moving your little meeple, looks like a little Lincoln meeple, love these guys, across the levels. You can choose which one to stay in, but you're stuck in that level until one of 3 things happen. If you lose a life, you get to restart at the start of either level. If you hit a checkpoint, one of the rewards you can take is exiting and starting over at a new level. And then I think, oh yeah, a lot of the cards have suits on them. And this little symbol in the bottom left-hand corner. They actually give you powers, but we almost always forget about them or don't really use them much. But there's a key suit, and any cards of the key suit, when you discard them, you can exit the level and start a new one. So here we go. Little Meeple dude. I'm going to start down here because my starting hand is better for buying than it is for fighting. So, first thing there is a sausage link whip. Pull that up. It will cost me 3 monies to pick up, and there's the suit, as I said, the key thing. Here is how many victory points it's worth. Melee, you know, there's the melee symbol. I love this. I love the artwork in this. All of the little sprites and everything are great. The weird enemy designs are awesome. But once you have this, when you use it, you can use it for 2 power or 2 purchasing power. 2 value. Here we go. It costs 3, as I said. 1, 2, these 3 all have a value of 1. I will take these. You can't use either or. You have to use it for just you have to use it for one of the types. So that's spent on buying things for the value. If they had power, I couldn't use that as well. I can only use it as one or the other. So that's 3. I take this guy. He goes in my discard. Then my move. Once you've purchased or defeated the card in front of you, this is always behind. This is always in front of. Like this is the back. This is the front. It's a side scroller going from left to right. So you move forward 1. Now I've got a guy in front of me, and he's a slime. The slime has a power of 1, which means I can use my little beardarang here. Discard. Oh, no, not discard. You put that in the equip items area. And I have defeated this guy. Normally this guy would go in my score pile and pile up victory points, but the slime is fancy. When defeated, place into an opponent's score pile, and it's worth -, points. And again, there's one of the suits in the bottom left. Worth -, points. I don't have another opponent, so I'm just going to put him off to the side. After I defeated that guy, and I can go forward. Here's the thing. All I've got left is this jump. I can't defeat that guy. I know I have a bunch of beardarangs in my deck, so at the start of the next turn, I will be able to defeat him. If you start your turn with an enemy in front of you, remember, in front of is, there's my guy, in front of is anything up here. But if you start with someone or an enemy directly in front of you, you have to deal with them before you do the rest of your turn. This is a tricky one. I'm just going to let it ride. That'll be the end of that turn. So I can take this. I now have to draw back up to 4 or 5. And now look, I've got a bunch of beardarangs and 1 jump. And they're not really worth anything. Not the best card. Well, I start there, so I immediately am ambushed. I'm going to use one of these. Oh, sorry, at the end of the turn, everything you equipped and spent monies on is discarded. Then I draw up, and I start my new turn. I'm going to use this, goes in the equip. This guy dies, and he goes in my opponent's score pile, not mine. Moves up to the next thing, and I can't buy it. I can't jump it or anything. That'd again be my turn being over. Got nothing but beardarangs in this hand now. Actually, wait. I got 2 jumps. Hold on a second. Never mind, whatever. So then, that'd be it. That'd be that turn. This turn I got 2 starting movements. Or 2 jumps, which are each worth 1, which means I could afford the chicken cannon. And that gets discarded. And these guys got used for money. I move up 1. I can't afford anything with these. Now, I kind of want to get that sausage link whip again. So you can discard more cards at the end of your turn if you want. I'm just gonna... No, you know what? I'm gonna discard 2 of these. I'm gonna get rid of all of that. There's nothing left to draw from, so I have to shuffle up my deck, start again. I've still got 1 in my hand. Much better. Exactly what I wanted. Now we start this one. The turn flow is basically deal with an ambush, explore, which is this thing I'm doing here, and then there's discard, draw up kind of a thing. And those are the 3 basic phases. As you can see, the game is not exactly, it's not dumb or anything, but it's pretty simple mechanically, but it's goofy, and it's a lot better when you've got 3 or more people, or more than 1 person, honestly. I've got 3 money, Let's spend that. Buys the sausage link. And then I hit the edge. When you hit the edge, first off, if there were any, you look at the furthest back player. So say there were like other players back here. You look at the furthest behind player. Everything behind him is removed. Then you move him back. You would take whatever's there, move it to the furthest back spot, and you kind of try and just preserve the order and condense everything down. So like say there were still things like this. Well, they're behind him, so they would all be eliminated. But again, let's say we had people out like this. So the board looked like this when I reached there. This guy gets scrolled off the screen, moves as far back as possible, in front of him. This would get moved all the way up here. Actually, both get moved back all the way, I think. I'm doing that right, because there's nothing to stop them. And you kind of just scroll everything down. Being as it's just me, put me all the way down there. Zombie Bot. Sausage Link Whip. Duck. Which is just a 2 value, nice little cheap card. And there's one of them Plague Doctors at the end. And play continues this way for a while. Again, you can see how it's better when you've got more people, because you don't have free reign of every single item if you want. There's people snatching things that you wanted, you're getting things they wanted, you're putting those slimes into someone else's score pile, they're defeating guys, they're hitting the end of the level and scrolling happens. It's definitely a lot more fun that way. Now, I'm taking this because I want to look at some of the cards to show you some things, like characters. Characters are... Wow, okay, so they'll cost... I think they all cost 4. And all of them have... If you have... At the end of the game, if you have this guy, and you can match this, if you have 3 cards that match these suits, so a cancel, and a score. If you can match that up, and you have this guy, you'll get an extra 10 points. And that's how characters work. There's a bunch of them. I really don't like the suits in this. Mainly because they're not prominently displayed on the cards very well. Like, see, it's gray, so it's the same color as the background, and it's this bottom left-hand corner thing. And what you can do is, any card with that, if it's in your hand, you can discard it for its fancy power. But again, like I said, we always forget this stuff. So, I mean, there's time travel. You can rearrange the top 5 cards of the level deck. Very cool. Always forget about it. Score. You can take a card you've got in your hand and immediately put it in your score pile. People rarely, if ever, do that because it's more important to us to have the cards out and being used and played and, you know, taking enemies down. The key is the only one I've ever seen used. It's where you can exit the level and come back to another one and start on the other one. Or just start that one over, whatever. And then the cancel, you can discard this, cancel an ability of an item or an enemy card. I haven't seen a lot of cancels. I don't remember anyone having a cancel when it would have come in handy during a thing. It's a nice little idea, and it's a way to get more use out of your cards, but the few times we've played this game, we always end up forgetting about them, or just not really using them that much. I guess they're nice in a pinch, I guess. You know, I guess it's like, reminds me of the D&D 4th edition fortune cards. They rarely get used, but when they do, it's kind of awesome, and really helps you out. Again, there's the checkpoint cards, which we haven't gotten to, because I'm not going to play through a ton of this game, just to get you guys there. Here's your checkpoint. When you hit a checkpoint, everyone who's on the same level can do one of these things, and the person who found the checkpoint can do one of these a second time, or can choose a second one to perform, and they can choose the same one twice if they like. Another thing is, since there are 3 of these in the deck, roughly in the third, splitting it up into thirds. The first time a checkpoint comes out, no big deal. Second time, a mini-boss. Third time, boss. Let's see what we got on level 2. The Baguette Bandit. He's our mini-boss. He is worth 5. He's got a power of 3. That's not much of a mini-boss, man. That's easy. There are regular guys. I mean, that guy is just as hard to kill. He's got a power, and he's not worth as many victory points. Wow. Yeah, Plague Doctors do that. And here's the boss I ended up picking for level 2. Power 7, which is tricky in this game. You know, 3 is kind of tough. 4, 5. Once it gets above like 4 or higher, it starts to get a little tricky to put some of this stuff together. And this is Robooth. I believe his brain in a jar is a mustache. It's fantastic. And he's worth 10 whole victory points. I really like this game. I'm a sucker for the low-res art style. I'm a sucker for the concept. My last name is Lincoln, so there's a bit of a tie-in there. I was actually buying... What was it? I was buying some other pixel art game, and I can't remember what the heck it was. But when I was buying that, the proprietor of my friendly local game store said, "Oh, well, did you see Pixel Lincoln?" I'm like, "No, I did not." Went back, immediately picked it up and brought it with me. It's a fun game. It's a goofy game. I love the sense of humor. I love the art. The setup seems tricky, but it's actually really easy. It just involves a lot so the game works the way they want it to. Really not too bad. I think it's really fun. If you like a deck building game and this goofy style and everything, I highly recommend it. This has been Tokens and Heft. I've been Lincoln for... Let's try that again. This has been Pixel Lincoln. I've been regular Lincoln for Tokens and Heft. I'll see you guys next time.